Welcome back to Pro Noob, ladies and gentlemen. We are on the final season of Attack on Titan. This is the start of the Marley arc, the first three. So 60, 61, 62. Mitch 62.
Yeah.
Jarod.
Hello.
Very hungover, Jarod.
I am really hungover, guys.
Man's had 3 drinks and he's dead to the world.
Okay. No, stop lying on me. Stop lying on me. I literally just told you that I had a cartoonish amount of alcohol to drink during the Super Bowl. I also lost like $60, $70. I also lost like $60, $70. Because for work we did like the Super Bowl squares.
Yeah.
Where it's basically like, do you know what that is?
Don't know.
So basically it's like a grid.
It's Super Bowl bingo, basically, isn't it?
Kind of. It's kind of it's not quite bingo so much as it's like, like on one, like the top half of the grid is going to be like using this year's Super Bowl, like the Patriots and the final digit of their score in each quarter, and on the other side is the Seahawks score at the end of every quarter. And then you buy a square, and then the numbers are picked randomly to see who gets what. Had nobody scored after I think it was the touchdown that the Seahawks scored in the fourth quarter, I would have made $300.
Oh. Not the one that they scored, but there was the flag, so they didn't get it.
No, there was the one they got because it fucked up. It fucked up my thing, but I would have won $300 on that. So I spent $40 on the squares. So I lost $60 in the Super Bowl. So I put $40 on the squares, and then at halftime, there was a really, really, really good payout in the event the Patriots came back. And me and a bunch of the people I was at that party with went in on it, and all threw $20 in. If we won, we would have walked away with like $200 a pop, I think it was.
But you didn't.
Neither of those went my way. So I lost $60 on the Super Bowl, and I woke up more hungover than I have been since 4th of July of 2020. Which is the night Travis and I almost met God while watching Hamilton in Joel's backyard.
When you say meet God, is that the same as how we kind of say? Because you got the porcelain throne, you're making a call to God.
No, I mean,
or just absolutely irradiated of your tits.
Just irradiated, absolutely. Just Travis is a lightweight to begin with, and I was pouring him drinks the way I pour my. I was pouring him drinks the way I pour my own drinks. So Travis was like 3 sheets to the wind, and I was drinking my own drinks that I was pouring like I pour them, and I had a lot more than Travis, and I had to save Travis from himself, but I was in no condition to help him either. It was very funny.
Classy.
This is the most hungover I've been since then. But anyway, this is interesting stuff.
I want to start with this intro. I need man's opinions on this intro before we get into it.
I like it.
Yeah.
I think the music's cool. The visuals are... Let me ask you this question. I presume the intro, just by sheer volume of episodes we have, I presume the intro is going to change at least once. Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm glad, because I was like, if this is it, it's a little underwhelming.
Yeah. Don't worry about it changing. It definitely... I think you got 2 more.
I had a feeling that's how it would go. If that is the case, then I like it more. Very much invoking the horrors of war, and very much from the perspective of the Marleyan, apartheid state. It was a good intro. It was a good intro. Like I said, it was it wasn't as thrilling as some of the other ones have been. I don't think the visuals were quite as pardon my hiccups, quite as striking.
That's interesting.
as some of the others. Like there's some really great visuals of all the gunfire and like the kinetic strike with the Titans just being dropped on people, which is bananas.
And if you got it, use it, right?
Yeah. No, it was really interesting. I don't remember much of the outro. I think I've become so.
The outro's not a lot to it. It's just a lot of like lights that are meant to look like the
coordinate.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, that's cool. I don't know. I think I've just become so hung up on the outros, the last two outros, I should say, feeling a little bit haunting and foreboding. That this outro, I was a little, okay,
That's fair.
But yeah,
we're more of a return to the big, like season one.
Yeah,
that's always the impression I get from this. Obviously, it's intentional because the arc, but
oh yeah, it feels like we're back at the beginning for a different group of people. Like I quite like the fact that this feels like what's happening in Marley could have been its own fucking show.
Yeah.
Like very, very interesting the way that we come in literally at the end of a war that Marley is waging because other world powers, saw them blink a little bit and thought they could move in on them. That seeing them have to reassert themselves militarily was interesting.
And reassert themselves, they did not. As I say, despite winning it, they barely did it. No. Rhino get fucked up.
Yeah.
Zeke nearly got fucked up. Also, you now know all the names of the Titans.
I do. For a brief moment, I was curious if the Jaw Titan was the new one just because it had like a helmet and some weird hair.
Jaw Titan is not a new one.
Yeah. Well, because I was like, either this is the Ymir Titan and this person just looks different. Like, it's like very different or whatever. And then the Cart Titan, which like, wow, what a short straw.
Put a pin in that.
Which did make up for the fact that it drew the short straw by being the Titan that they were just like, hey, let's put fucking guns on it. This is sick as hell.
I mean, hey, like, I don't know if you caught it. There's one point where Pete's like, oh, it's been months since I was bipedal.
Oh, yeah. No, I caught that, which was like, ugh, that's unsettling. I didn't like that, but
I really like these episodes. I like the juxtaposition to everything.
I'm going to ask you a question now. We're just
did anyone actually like Gabi at all for the final season? The answer's no. The answer's
oh, I know. I can tell.
Which I'm in a minority of people. I fucking love Gabi. I understand why people don't like Gabi. I adore.
I'm going to be very honest about Gabi. I find her kind of boring only because this show has
Aaron.
Not Aaron. It's just we have gotten such a profound view into the interior lives of so many people in this show and their psychology and what makes them tick. And while we are dealing with this new batch of child soldiers who are grappling with the fact that they are living in an apartheid state where they can only gain value by specifically serving as one of the warriors, as one of the chosen. And they, even if they die heroically in battle as a normal infantryman, they are still viewed as lesser and they are still viewed as like, well, you're just paying a debt. And I feel like hotshot, top of the class, asshole kid who's probably dealing with a whole lot of internalized issues is a trope we don't really have fucking time for.
You have nearly 40 episodes, Jarod.
Sure, but like,
we have nothing
I just mean,
but time in this.
I just mean, like, I see her and I go, there's so much going on in this show, so much going on, and like I said, the interior minds and lives of these characters, and it's like, I don't think I have it in me to deal with an Oscar right now.
Oh, no,
like I don't.
She's not an Oscar. No, she's not.
You know, and I use that as like a shorthand.
I know. I don't like it,
but
I know.
But I'll say she'll probably grow on me. She'll probably grow on me, as most characters tend to. But yeah, no, I have a question to ask you.
Go for it.
So I had the subtitles on.
Okay.
Partly because sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I leave them off because, like, I don't know. Sometimes I leave them off because I feel like sometimes the subtitles accidentally reveal things and I'm not supposed to know.
Yeah.
It gives me a character name every so often. There were, however, a couple moments in these episodes where, like, I had to rewind it a couple times because somebody spoke and, like, I just couldn't make out what they said. So I left them on. So that Kruger guy at the end of these 3 episodes, that is Aaron's voice actor, is it not? Okay. There's something is afoot here. Something is afoot here on that, and I just need to get this out of my system because I clocked the voice, and at first I was like, oh, yeah, maybe it's just, you know, he's there, but I'm like, that's the fucking main character of the show, and he's saying some scary Aaron shit. He's scaring the hoes as Aaron Yeager is wont to do, and
recording children hoes now.
No, okay. First of all, it's a fucking expression. Meaning you're harshing the vibe and you're behaving in such a way that is kind of freaking people out. Do not try to
I wasn't trying to do anything. I was just stating what you did.
Slander me while I am in a vulnerable state and I'm not at my full power.
Bibbums.
But huh?
I said bibbums.
Bibbums?
Bibbums,
What the fuck is what's bibbums?
It's just like a thing. Like, oh, diddums.
Okay. Anyway.
It's kind of like I'm trying to think what the example is.
It's like shucks. Like
No. Let me just let's see what Google says. Used to express commiseration to a child or ironically to an adult. That's diddums. Bibbums is the same thing, essentially.
Okay, either way.
No.
But no.
Poor thing.
There's a part of me that's like, okay, let me ask this real quick. Has there been a time jump?
There has.
I was going to say, like, obviously there needs to be, like, there are some time jumps that are like, you know, time jumps that kind of go without saying because, like, you know, they got back to Marley. They got back to Marley and they've licked their wounds. You know, Rhina has all his limbs again. You know, Zeke is nowhere near as he has his face. Zeke is nowhere near as fucked up as he was leaving the battle in Shiganshina. Like, all of that. Like, clearly there was a time jump in this is sometime later. How much of a time jump has there been, though? For what?
Years.
4 years. Then that has to fucking be Aaron. That little goober is all grown up and infiltrated Marley.
I am going to tell you this right now. I can tell you don't read the credits.
Honestly, I don't, because I'm like looking at the like visuals.
I would. The Aaron is credited as Bryce in the credits. No,
Wait, what?
Well, his voice actor's in the credits.
Yeah.
When they're not in an episode, they don't get credited because they're not in the episode.
Right.
So Bryce, the voice actor, is credited for voicing Aaron.
Because he's credited as voicing Aaron. Okay, that's. I was hearing he was credited as voicing Bryce, and I was like,
I did say it that way. I did say it that way, in fairness.
Okay. That's what melted my mind there for a little bit, and there's not a whole lot of mind left to melt at the current moment. We've created a funny bit of continuity here on Pro and Noob, where if you remove any conversation about the Super Bowl, you could just heavily imply that I am hungover from getting drunk in the one episode, which is a funny little sleight of hand we could do, but we won't.
It's funny as well because the getting drunk, the start of that is in, because we're far enough away from it now, is in the little special intro.
Oh, I can't wait.
Jarod obviously hasn't seen it yet because I haven't made it. It does not exist currently. It will by the time people see this.
By the time people are watching this, it will be out, and I will have seen it.
We have made a bootstrap. We have made our own bootstrap.
I love a bootstrap. So if there's been a 4-year time jump, which again I also figured because like Rhina has a little bit of like facial hair going on.
They also just look horrifically different and a lot older.
Yeah. But I also didn't know how much of that was like Homeboy got fucked up.
Also,
I didn't know how much
the art style has changed because it has changed officially studios now. Well, it's officially changed studios now to say that in the correct order.
Well, like I said, there was like, and I noticed that. You also mentioned before that happens. So like that was part of it for me too. It was like how much of this is like he healed but not fully, and he's like grown a little bit of a beard. How much is that like like again, when I shave, it only takes me like a month max to be back at a full beard. So I was like, maybe it's been like a month or two, and like Rhina to show how kind of off step he is, like hasn't shaved, like. And he's also growing facial hair. But if it's been 4 years, because that also I had questions about like how long Zeke would have been the Beast Titan if he is on his last year alive before it kills him. Then I was like, was he okay? That makes a lot more sense. I also wish they said that explicitly in the show.
Well, that's been 4 years.
Yeah,
they do.
They do. I must have missed it then. My apologies. But yeah, no, that's
I think only because they say it in the context of the fight with the Mid-Easterns. I don't even know if we actually know the Mid-Eastern Alliance. I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
Because they're like, it's been 4 years or something like that.
Well, they say that war has been waging for 4 years. I didn't know
that war only started because they lost the female and the colossal, because they lost 2 of the 7 they had. People starting to take advantage.
Okay, that makes sense then, because I was hearing that as a war was brewing, shit went down, and then it like went hot. Like for 4 years, this has been escalating, and then shit. But I couldn't tell. Okay, that makes more sense. That makes more sense. Okay, cool. But yeah, no, that's Aaron, all grown up, masquerading as some wounded soldier. Really scary. The fact that he's going by Kruger is interesting. Because for a brief moment, I was like, oh, maybe Aaron is like using the coordinate to pilot Kruger's body, and Kruger's still alive somehow. But I'm like, that can't be possible. If Grisha ate Kruger to get the Attack Titan powers, then that's, unless there's another little quirk that's going to be introduced here that I don't know about, there's no way that is him. But okay, All right. Oh, that's sorted out. Aaron's gonna do some fuck shit, especially when they have this big.
Also, Jean is there. John. I don't know if you caught that.
Really?
You see John before you see Aaron.
Can I be honest about something too that was like kind of an issue that like I might have to work around? I'm so used to watching this in the like mid morning as opposed to like late morning, early afternoon. There was a lot of glare on the TV, which I did not expect to be as much of an issue.
Just close your curtains, man. God damn.
I know.
Or just buy an OLED.
Light.
Just buy an OLED. Do that.
But okay, well, hold on. I'm gonna go into the episode real quick because I do want to see Jean.
I think it's the end of the first of episode 60. I don't think you see him twice. You only see him from the back. It's not his face. It's just purely you see the pink hair. He's wearing a suit. And he's got a little.
Okay.
He's got the little trilby hat on. You see the hair sticking out the bottom of it.
You said
It's
the
obviously
end of the first
him.
episode?
I think so. Yeah, I think it's the last thing you see.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's one of those.
So they are in the process of
a reveal, but it's obviously him.
So they are in the process of infiltrating.
It does look that way, doesn't it? They ain't wearing their Eldian armband. They're not. Well, Aaron is not on the correct arm because he's a funny little goober.
Yeah, it's like the Inglorious Bastards, like holding up the number thing. Okay. So are you saying Jean is infiltrated as a civilian?
Yeah, he's walking around in just a suit.
Oh yeah, I see. Again, his hair doesn't look pink to me. I never would have been able to.
It's a pinky brown. It's virtually the same.
It's also. I just kind of assumed this would be a new character we'd have to follow at some point because I see that also the time jump, like him having facial hair, makes it also a little more difficult to catch. But okay. I was like, I didn't realize you were talking about the guy at the very end of the episode. Okay, that makes sense. Cool. I dig it. But yeah, no, this has been really interesting. This is just so upsetting. Like, this is one of those instances where it's like, I don't have any flowery language for how wildly fucked up all of this is.
Mm-hmm.
The way that the Eldians are treated, the way that they are forced into service, and there's a part of me that wants to be like, oh yes, like take the fight to the Marleyans. And there's a part of me that wants to go like, what the fuck do they even know? What are they privy to? Like odds are like whatever fucked up conspiracy that's at play here, the Marleyan people and probably even the Marleyan government on some level is probably being taken for a ride, the same way everybody in Paradis has been. Like there's a part of me that almost like I'm not willing to absolve the Marleyans of this gruesome apartheid state. Like I'm like there's a part of me that's waiting for a greater truth.
Yeah.
Because now that the show has reached like kind of a critical mass in the scale of this conflict, I'm not sure if it's going to eventually lean on the side of there is a singular big bad that needs to be defeated. Because that could lend itself towards like a thematic motivic development of we are one humanity and we have been had by this greater supernatural force. And it is only if we lay down our arms and come to an understanding that we can tackle this great existential threat that has caused so much suffering on all sides and has made monsters and butchers and just demons out of us all. or if there is not a greater truth, if it is just two separate interpretations of a historical event and basically a religious text that has created two warring factions that are going to fight forever. And that's the point. And that there is no this is not going to end with a condemnation of what has happened up to this point by having everybody join forces and there kind of be like a happier Pollyanna ending. That it is just going to be, and look what the cycle brought us, and having to kind of live in that. And there's a part of me that wants to think that this show wants to, by its end, to use the phrase I use when talking about Andor so much, kind of paint in that negative space of hope. That like when you go back and you watch Attack on Titan from moment one on to the very end, you will be able to go, oh wow, this is so bleak, but look at the chain reaction it set off. This is so horrifying, but look what is built in this moment, and it is all heading towards a moment to exhale and rebuild and have a more functioning society of humanity, one where your Marleyans and your Eldians can coexist and all that jazz. It's hard to say that something like Attack on Titan would end there.
Yeah.
Because everything we've seen up to this point, but by that same logic, because of everything we've seen up to this point, that feels like it would be a kind of satisfying ending to let people ride off into a sunset. And I truly don't know which to expect.
Expect nothing. Just go in.
Oh, yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It's like I can't tell. I feel like maybe on some level intentionally, the show is almost putting it in our minds that like because things look so dire and like there cannot be any diplomacy, that is why there must be.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And I don't know. I don't know, and I don't know what to make of how grotesque the Marleyans are about military service. Like it really feels like they want the Marleyans to be as devoid of humanity as the Titans were. But I just saw Aaron tell one of his comrades to spare a Titan.
Dude, yeah.
You know? And there's a part of me that goes, when will the Marleyans get that? Because right now, it just seems like it is an apartheid state, and the people who are on the good side of apartheid love it here. Very Rhodesia, very South Africa. We love apartheid, and the people who are getting apartheided upon, fuck them. Feels like the vibe, and I don't know how to make heads or tails of that. And so, like, what, like, I don't know. I think it's also the gut reaction from me, where it's like I hate watching people gleefully take part in a state like this and this type of like segregation and oppression. But I also intellectually know for people to be rehabilitated, the ones that can be, the ones who are willing to be rehabilitated, there needs to be some amount of like giving somebody space to come to the conclusion what they did was fucked up. Which is difficult, which is something that I would not be comfortable asking any, like in the real world or in this fictional universe, asking an Eldian to say, are you willing to give the grace to this person or that person so that they can understand that they were wrong and maybe make up for it? Because so much of this is built around grievance. So much of this, which again, a lot of real world animus that allow situations like this to be created is built in grievance, real or imagined. Like we societally like to at least in the States, we love to gesture towards other like certain demographics being more predisposed, pardon my hiccups, to violent crime or crime in general, when the reality is that it has nothing to do with race or ethnicity, but everything to do with environment and poverty. You know, like when you look at drug arrests, white people and black people abuse drugs at the same rate, but black people go to prison for it more. You know, the media at a point in time loved to talk about black on black crime, about how when you leave quote unquote these people to their own devices, they're going to destroy each other. Black on black crime and white on white crime happen at the exact same rate because we just ended up, for the most part, surrounded by people who look like us. So by virtue of your surroundings, those are the people you're committing crimes against, are people who happen to look like you, because that's where you end up. Is around other people who look like you. You know, and it's all of these like big ideas of like how much of this is environmental, and like it's very easy to go, well, look at this list of individual bad people who did a thing. And maybe we'll even lie about some of the bad people who did bad things. And this is enough to make you want to hate all of them. And that is obviously happening to the Eldians. I think that maybe the show is trying to do that to the viewer against the Marleyans. Because I think on some level, I think on some level the show went, oh, okay, so you finally started feeling bad for Titans. Let's see if we can just make you replace that hatred. Let's see if you're actually paying attention. Let's see if you're actually listening. To quote Outkast, y'all don't want to hear me, you just want to dance. Like, I'm curious to see if we are getting hey-ya'd by the show to go, and the moment you feel a humanity for a Titan is the moment we're basically going to give you a fresh ethnic group to have the same level of hatred for. And see if you at home, you the viewer, even notice that you're doing it again immediately. And all it took was a scary story. All it took was another scary story for you to have so much hatred in your heart for people. Not the system, not the belief system, not what they do, but for the people. Let's see how easy it is for us to make you hate again.
I can see it.
But I'm woke and cannot be made to hate.
You've hated Eren since the beginning.
No, that's different. That's individual.
Of course, that's different. Of course, that's different.
That is an individual person who pisses me off.
Of course, Jared. Of course.
Wow. Demographic hatred of a group of people is different than that guy pisses me off sometimes.
This man also took every opportunity before the flashback to shit on Mikasa. This man also immediately went, oh, this character's smart. He must be magical thinking. I'm going to keep an eye on him. Immediately, our main three characters.
Lies.
No, they're not. It's what you said in the fucking show.
I said, okay, first of all, with Armin.
In the show.
First of all, with Armin, I said
you put him on magical thinking watch instantly.
Because I was curious to see if he would get Flanderized to that point, because that's what happens with savant type characters like him, is it eventually descends into that and you get Flanderized. I was saying
this is Jared's versions of they hit us first.
Oh, shut the fuck up. And with Mikasa, I was saying I really hope we get more meat on the bone than all I care about is Eren, because I liked her. And Eren said some shit that sounds like he is on fucking like Kick and 4chan too much a couple times, and I got a little scaredy-cared. Okay, I was a little frightened. Okay, and for what it's worth, I yelled so much I got a head rush. Oh my god, hold on.
He just Aaroned out. The memories of what he just said came flooding back. God damn.
No, I got a head rush. I made myself dizzy. I yelled. I whipped the chair around while I was yelling, and I was like, oh, I'm not in any shape to do that right now.
He's so fragile.
Listen, even somebody as hardy as me has days where they aren't their full selves, you know?
Yeah, man sniffed a whiskey once. Now
Oh,
look at him.
stop.
You'd be so funny over here. I'd be fascinated to see how that turned out.
I'll do. First of all, your people would love me.
They would, but it's the case of like, how long would he last? Is a night out in London like 10 minutes for Jarod?
I'm good at pacing myself, typically.
Pacing. What the fuck's that? You don't do that over here.
Okay, I'll go gauntlet. I can do a full gauntlet mode over there, but no. But yeah, no, it's been very fascinating. It's been a very interesting look. I was really upset and kind of taken aback by Rhina's attempted suicide.
Poor man.
Content warning.
I adore the perspective they put on Reiner through these 3 episodes. I fucking love it. Reiner's is
well, I mean, because it's so clear that like it is the natural endpoint of radicalization is either you die for the cause you let yourself be convinced is worth dying for, or you survive enough of the horrors to realize it's bullshit. Even if it is a worthy cause, even if you are fighting for something good, whatever that means, whatever fighting for good means or looks like, you come to realize maybe I signed up for something I didn't actually want, and all the perceived heroics and all of the service to the state.
Well, in Reiner's case, it's not even what he like. Obviously, he wouldn't want the 13-year limit on him anyway, but it's not even for what he specifically wanted. He wanted it because other people wanted it, and a perceived
sure, yeah, and that's what I'm getting at. Is
else
like
would have wanted as well, and then bang.
Yeah, and it's the indoctrination. And what I found really interesting was, and what I hope to see more of is, I want to see more of like the Eldians in Marley. How many of them actually believe what they've been told to think of themselves?
I mean, so far it's all
like
of them,
even, but that's the thing.
I say all of them because you have the whole resistance thing, and that's they use that as a threat. I'll report you resistance.
But that's what I'm saying though, is like how many of them actually believe it, and how many of them are complying under threat of death, right? How many of them are going along with it because it is the obvious safer choice, and how many of them actually do have this self-hatred of their identity and culture imposed upon them and buy into it, you know? And you could make an argument that they are going along with it themselves, and it's a coping mechanism, and it's, you know, psychological conditioning that they've been forced to believe it, and it just worked on them. But you know, it's murky, and it's really it's complicated, and yeah, it's very fascinating.
I agree. We also, with the whole Reiner flashback, or the warrior flashback, we want to call it, because it is all of them. It gives a really nice subtle development to Annie that goes back to when I said nothing gratuitous happens in Attack on Titan, and you won't explain why she does this. Because this child has got like serial killer mentality. She's just there ripping bugs apart.
Yeah.
It's not gratuitous in this life.
Well, here's what I would go so far as to say, though, and again, these are one of those instances where
obviously it's not just like it's not just serial killer. There's more psychological stuff to.
No, sure, and I know you mean. I know that's what you mean, and I'm gonna expound upon it. But like, again, it also goes to that like, it's so much about environment and circumstance.
Yeah.
That like, you break a person's brain, you make them into you mold them into being somebody who is taught to have a killer's instinct in all things. That has blowback. That creates certain like you make people take on certain behaviors. And I think that as we're going into this final season and going into this final stretch of Attack on Titan, we are kind of pivoting away from not just the horrors of war, but like what makes your enemy, and why do you perceive them as like you, because like you have to. We talked about this all the way back in the way they talked about the Titans and my early speculation about them, that like something has to be, you have to dehumanize the enemy. Because for your average person who's going to pick up a gun or a sword or some ODM gear or some thunder spears, whatever,
you got to give them a reason to buy in.
You need to you give them a reason to buy in and give them permission to not feel bad when they take a life.
Yeah.
You know, and that's a good way to create people who are very okay with doing that in a way that's really horrific and unsettling.
Because with Annie, especially, specifically Annie, because I obviously couldn't talk about it before why, but it's a clear case of everything that I'm going through is your fault.
Yeah.
Therefore, every ounce of pain I've ever felt, have that in 360 degrees for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Get hip checked into a tree. I don't give a fuck. I also really like the flashback when they're on when they get sent to the island, when they're actually on, when you see, I can never remember the kid's name. I want to call him Marcel, but I don't think it is Marcel.
No, you're right. It's Marcel.
Is it Marcel? Yeah. With him getting eaten and just the start of Reiner's cope, I guess, for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
This poor kid.
Yeah, it's a mix of military indoctrination and the way that, you know, militaries demand you dehumanize the enemy and also dehumanize yourself so that you're okay with whatever's going to happen to you. And it's scary as fuck and deeply upsetting and unsettling.
Also, I just want to, while we were talking about Annie, while Annie was in the conversation, I found it fascinating because straight away you were like, why is she wearing a hoodie? Why is she wearing a hoodie? Why has she got these more modern clothes on? What's up with that? And out of everything, you're like, oh, I've been right. You never once went, there's an entire civilization out there that's more modern. Not once. Stunned me for months. Stunned me for absolute months. It's like she's wearing a hoodie because she's obviously.
But even then, it's too modern for Marley, though. Like even then, the hoodie's still the hoodie, the just normal pullover hoodie, like not too dissimilar from what I am wearing right now, is still like a hop, skip, and a jump ahead of what Marley has going on. But still, I mean, you're right. Like that was that was something that occurred to me in the last batch of episodes, but there was so much other important shit to talk about that I was not going to do a victory lap about, oh, hey, that explains why the hoodie's out of place. You know, like we got much bigger fish to fry.
It's so funny because it is a case of, well, why is she wearing a hoodie? Like, what the fuck? Why has no one questioned this thing? Like, sure, the scouts wear hoods. Hoods aren't a modern thing. But that specific type of hood? No.
Yeah, that look is very particular. You know, it's just very. You know,
and she's the only one. Like, this is weird.
But yeah. So
R.I.P. Marcel. You
Yeah, I was laughing.
You exist to get eaten. That's purely it.
I thought it was funny though because we were talking not that long ago. I don't remember how it came up. I was talking with some of my friends. We were talking about like Ionized Bastards and like the Our Many Systems RPG stuff. And I don't remember how it came up, but I mentioned, we were talking about how Michael comes up with really good Star Wars names and how his favorite names he's ever come up with, because obviously he writes a lot of Star Wars fanfic and obviously the RPGs, about how his favorite names he's ever created were Marcelo Guster and Radel Taro. Were like his favorite Star Wars names, which are like the two mob bosses from Ionized Bastards Season 2. And we laughed about it because originally until like the week before or the week of us doing Ionized Bastards. My character's name was Fabian Marcel. And I was like, oh. And it wasn't until like the week of I went, T sounds better there. Martel sounds better than Marcel.
Yeah, that's funny. That's funny. There was one other thing.
So it made me giggle when I heard his name. I was like, oh, hey.
Oh, yeah. Also, because somehow people really get confused. I got why at the time, but watching Attack on Titan a few times since, I kind of find it funny how people didn't realize. But Ymir is dead. Ymir, granted, it's off screen. Ymir gets eaten, so you don't worry about asking where she is. Ymir's the big gun.
I mean, she writes in the letter, like my time is coming.
Exactly.
When we see I was like, okay, so like she knew she was about to die, but also knew it would have been irresponsible for her to just die with her powers because it gets just randomly passed on to a child.
Yeah.
Really want to know how the fuck that works.
Well, if you die with the Titan, it's just reincarnate. It's basic reincarnation, right? You die, you get reborn as the child that's just been born. So if you die, like the next child that's born is that Titan.
I'll be honest, I really don't like that.
From a conceptual stance or from a stance?
From a conceptual stance. If they do something with it, which I have no reason to assume that they won't.
Well, here's the thing, even if they haven't done anything yet, it's the metaphorical inherited hatred, right?
Sure. I just I want to. I feel like it gives it more stakes if it's like this is like you have to make these two people need to have an understanding about what is about to happen for this to happen.
That's fair.
And to kind of like pawn it off, that's why I don't like what I'm about to say. There was a part of me that was almost curious. I was like, if Ryan does it, I'm kind of curious about how this would affect things if some random baby now is the armored Titan.
Just little baby Rhino Titan. Obviously, it's going to look different. That's Annie.
Yeah, I know, but just that image of like a Titan with its dukes up
in the little a little baby wrap. That's like finger gunning, just like.
Oh God!
To be fair, that's just babies anyway. Do what they fucking want. They're drunk little old men.
But yeah. But with all that said, I think that's all I have for this one.
Yeah. Just on a pure visual design point, because it is a bit of a contention with people. How are you feeling about fully 3D Titans? So obviously before they've used 3D since the start of the fucking series, but they blend it in. They swap between 2D and 3D. But now
it didn't jump out at me that much here.
That's interesting.
Like I clocked it, but I also didn't go, oh, or like it didn't have an effect on me. Just oh, okay, that's a thing now. I was kind of indifferent on it. Something might happen that makes me have a stronger feeling on it. But
I mean, if you didn't have a strong feeling after Return of Shiganshina, because the Colossal Titan CGI in there is horrific. Watching that back, it has not aged well.
It's one of those instances where it's like, I enjoy when there's like a random like blip of CGI in 2D animation. I think part of that is the way that like my brain could understand these are being made differently, but I understand how when I was a kid watching the 2D Clone Wars. Like I liked how sometimes the ships moved in a way that was like visibly different than the world around them. Like specifically when like Anakin leaves Coruscant at the very beginning to go fight on Munilance. Like like that, like his starfighter is not moving the way everything else does.
So they do a bit of I'm trying. I think it's the first. Is it the first episode? It's when Gabi Falco and that lot are meeting Reiner at the dock. But the conversation those kids are having there is entirely rotoscoped.
Really? I like rotoscoping.
So when he's doing that one kid like acting out and stomping and everything. It's so oddly. It's not also the only bit I think as well. I think they do it a couple of times in these three, but I'm not entirely sure.
It's also when he kind of like dashes back to the other two. He moves in a kind of uncanny way.
Yeah.
Uncanny for the art style, uncanny what we've seen up to this point.
It's suddenly just ultra fucking smooth. It's like, ooh, that wasn't 24 frames a second. That was like 60. What the fuck?
But yeah, I think that's all I got.
That's cool. I really enjoy the Marley arc. I think it's really fun. I think it's fun. I think it's a fascinating look at the world as a whole. Not that I've seen it a lot, actually. I think I've only seen it twice. I actually can't remember. But yeah. So we'll catch you in next week for the next 3. Because I think Marley's in 4 parts. So teach you for not having the Miss Schedule open. Is Marley 4 parts? No, Marley is 3 parts.
Okay.
8 episodes. 9. You got to count 60. 9 episodes. So we'll catch you next week. So Jarod, you
guys can find me over at the Nerd Academy Podcast. Right now we have our MCU rewatch show, The Road to Doomsday, going strong. Having a lot of fun with that. As I said in the last episode, Patreon gets early access to every episode of The Road to Doomsday and exclusive access to our audio commentary series at the $5 tier or higher. The Patreon members are going to get Road to Doomsday drops in bursts, as Taylor and I are now firmly in the era of Marvel television. So we have we're going to have to do things kind of in bursts. Things will be kind of recorded out of order, but you guys will still be getting fed very well. While we were recording this, our Black Panther episode just came out today. So whenever you're done watching Pro and Noob, if you haven't watched the episode of The Road to Doomsday that comes out on the same day as Pro and Noob episodes, we come out at 9 a.m. my time. I think they come out around, 3 for Pro and Noob?
3, yeah, because 8 p.m. for me.
Okay. So once you get your fill of Road to Doomsday, be sure to check back in on this channel on the same days, as well as, like I alluded to earlier, Luminous Odyssey, the Star Wars RPG, set in the High Republic era on all remaining systems, having a lot of fun with that. Epic Confrontations, Star Wars Trivia League I'm in, Michael and I, Teams Division going strong. We had our very commanding victory in our debut match, and I'm looking forward to who our next opponent may be. So stay tuned for that.
Yeah, to give you a glimpse of how far in front we are, what's coming out today, or what will be out today, for us, is the last part of season 2.
Damn.
Mm-hmm. We are a whole season in front. I kind of like it this way. No.
I do too.
I like. I'm gonna not release as we record from now. Give us some breathing space. So yeah, you done with your pluggy plugs?
I believe I'm done with my pluggity plugs.
You can find us right here, obviously. So like, comment, subscribe. Make sure it's on Blue and Blue Sky, and we'll catch you all next time.
Ah!